Introduce themselves, maybe say a few words. Some of you have heard already why we're here. My name is Janet Porter, president of Faith2Action, and God dropped in my heart the idea that we should pass a bill to protect babies whose hearts are beating, whose heartbeats can be heard. And the reason we're here today is the flag you see behind you, and that is an appeal to heaven. We're making an appeal to heaven because that is our nation's first flag. It is the flag that General Washington flew over our first Navy ships. When they went up against the most powerful nation in the world, they made an appeal to heaven because militarily they didn't stand a chance. But that appeal to heaven gave them a conquest. They actually conquered a British ship and captured it and gave them muskets and ammunition that helped to fuel and fund the Revolutionary War. And so we are joining our prayers with our founders as we make this appeal to heaven, as we stand on literally the promise of God that with God all things are possible. Many of you, I know, have been here throughout this process. You've seen the 3-story high balloon that said "Pass the heartbeat bill now." You were here when the plane flew over the Statehouse, when we delivered 5,000 balloons to the legislature, when we delivered 2,200 roses the following Valentine's Day, when we filled up the atrium to overflowing, when we had rallies inside and outside, when we did pretty much everything you can imagine to do. I ran out of ideas, and that's why we're here. We are making an appeal to heaven because God is the one that's going to have to do what we're unable to do. He's going to have to move on the hearts of these legislators, and that's what we're counting on. And as we make these deliveries, this is what we're going to be giving them. The tag says, as we give it to Governor Kasich, it says every day in Ohio, 70 babies with beating hearts are brutally killed by abortion. Something you pledge to end, not just regulate. These are not statistics. They are real babies who will fill these clothes if only you call upon the legislature to pass the heartbeat bill for you to sign into law. Please make protecting these babies a top priority before the election, because the cost of inaction is just too high. Thank you. You want to go, John?
Thank you, Janet. Thank you for all the work that you've done, and thank you for coming here today. 3 hours of prayer. A lot of things ran through my mind as I stood here, and as I drove here this morning. It is Constitution Day, September 17th, 1787, and 11 years earlier, we had the independence signed, and those courageous men that signed the Declaration of Independence 11 years before Constitution Day. And here we are talking about the men and the women voting on a bill that has been in the system for 4 years. And it boggles my mind for the simple fact that I wear this pin on my lapel. I always have it on my lapel. And it's not that you can pick and choose which day you're pro-life. You don't get to pick and choose. You're either pro-life or you're not. And it's not a vote before the election or after the election. It's not. So I stand here today and I struggle thinking about all the men and women in our legislature. And to think it's just a button. A green and a red button. And the politics we play with the 70 children a day. And here we are, resorting to prayer. And when I finish talking, I'm going to go into the chamber and I'm going to listen to Speaker Batchelder talk about Constitution Day. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to think about the courage of the men and the women that founded this nation and didn't worry about the politics of a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative John Adams, a true leader in the legislature. Matt Lynch, you want to come on forward?
just thank you all again for being here, and Janet and John and Ron, two real heroes of the legislature. You know, like John, a lot of thoughts go through my head today. I recently thought it was important to look at these horrible beheading videos that are on the internet, and the killing that's going on in the Mideast by ISIS. And you know, it strikes me that our nation has been aroused to that evil, in part by that video. But I've also seen these horrible abortion videos. They're not dissimilar. And it was immediately what struck me was the evil of death, of murder, being brought to an innocent life. And as a nation, as we're aroused literally to move heaven and earth to combat this evil on the other side of the world, somehow we're blind and we're silent to the 20,000 plus deaths that are occurring, 70 a day, right here in the state of Ohio. And we have to have the courage to understand that the moral fight against evil in the Mideast is no different than the moral fight against evil right here in the state of Ohio. And that evil is abortion. And we have to pray that our nation arouses to that evil as well and passes the heartbeat bill. Thank you.